Hey kids! So last week we were adding 3-digit numbers up to 1,000. This week we're subtracting 3-digit numbers, and it starts off really slow. So this is going to feel almost insulting to you, but this is the way it starts, by subtracting tens and hundreds. In your book, this is one of those things where in your book at first they have you draw out the cubes, but then they very quickly just have you doing it in your head, and I think that you can usually do it in your head. So for instance, if they say 324 minus 10, you could draw 324 and then just take away 10 and find that you have 314. Okay? Sometimes it'll have you take away numbers in the hundreds. So it might be 732 minus 100, and I bet that you know that you just look at the hundreds place and take away 1. So if you wanted to draw it out, you could. Minus 100, and you would get 7 minus 1 is 632. It won't always be 10. It won't always be 100. Sometimes they will have you take away, here's a third grade word, I know you love them. Sometimes they'll have you take away multiples of tens or 100. So maybe multiple sets of 10 like 30, or multiple sets of 100 like 400. But you can do that just as easily. If it was 725 minus 300, you still would just look at that hundreds place and do 7 minus 3, which would leave you with 4. And then the 25 remains the same. But as always, you can draw it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and take away 3 of the hundreds. 1, 2, 3, and it leaves you with 425. I don't think you're going to have any problem with this. When you're doing it in your head, the trick is going to be when you get to a number, for instance, let me see if I can find one, like 305 minus 10, okay, because there's no hundreds. So you just have to think, you can draw it if that helps you. No tens, 300s, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have no tens to take 1 10 away. So if you take a 100 square and pretend you're smashing it with a hammer, it would give you 10 10 rods, right? Because there's 10 tens in 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you have to take away 1 10. Boo. So you would be left with 200 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 295. Okay, so if you get a little bit confused, there's not a lot of space on your page, but you can still draw it small. If you get a little bit confused, you can draw it small, but I don't want you to draw out the work unless you feel like you need to, if it's helpful for you. So you can do one of two things for your practice. You can go into Seesaw, and the pages are loaded in Seesaw just like they were last week. I don't know if that voiceover is still there. If it is, just again listen to the directions and then hit re-record and then do your writing. But if it's easier for you, you can also, you have your homework book, so you can go do the pages in your homework book and just write right in them. That might be easier for you. It's lesson 11-2. And then if you want to take pictures of them and send them to me, you can, okay? So whatever's easier for you. But again, we're just subtracting tens and hundreds today, and then it'll get maybe a little bit more challenging in the next few days. If you need help with anything, I'm going to have a office hour today, or a half hour today, from 10 to 10:30. So you should get an email about that, and then you also, if you click on the iPad in the virtual classroom, that will take you to it, okay? All right, talk to you soon.